For all.
Roll call, please.
Covert,
Here.
Crowner,
Here.
Johnson, Lees,
Here.
Young.
Here.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Support.
Motion and support. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries. We have consent agenda. I'd entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion to approve is presented.
Support.
Motion and support. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. At this point, we'll go to our staff reports, so, Greg?
Thank you, Your Honor. You have the budget calendar went out, I think, last week as well. We have a February 14 meeting date. I've had at least one request to not meet on the 14th. I was going to suggest Tuesday, the 13th. I spoke with Councilmember Johnson, and he would prefer the 15th, and that's a Thursday night, if that works for everybody, instead of the 14th. Any objections?
15th should work with me.
I'm sorry, Melanie?
The 15th sounds good to me, Thursday.
Problem?
I'm retired. I think it won't be a problem for me.
I can make it work.
Okay.
I'd rather do 13th, but 15th will work.
As long as I don't have a meeting with the county on that night for finance.
Let me know if there's a conflict, and we'll look at the calendar, see what we can do. Monday, the 12th, I guess, would have been an option as well, but let's see. My last update, it indicated that we were most likely not going to be able to apply for funding through DNR to FEMA for stormwater. Had a chance to talk to Burlington since, and they're not going to be submitting for that project, and that was for a nonprofit in the area. So and on the very last item tonight, you'll see there's a resolution that'll allow us to apply for funding, and most likely be around $170,000 if all goes well. That would be included in DNR's request to FEMA for stormwater funding. So we'll get that submitted. At the same time, we are looking to apply for funding for Mount Pleasant Phase 3 and 4. Also be participating in DNR funding, defense funding opportunity and webinar. But in the meantime, next Friday, we need to submit the STBG grant for funding. And I will need 2 minutes of your time to have a quick meeting to do a resolution for that. If there's really can be any time during the week in preparation for that. If I could get that resolution for the application, that would be good. Would like Tuesday at 10 work? Something like that? Wednesday at 10 in the morning? Or we can do later in the day too.
Greg, that's next week, the 24th.
We can do it earlier too. I just need a few folks so that we can approve a resolution of support for that STBG application due on Friday.
I could not do Tuesday morning at 10. I could do Wednesday, or I could do Tuesday later.
Melanie, is there time?
Yeah, I can call, I'd be a call-in, but I could make Tuesday or Wednesday would work with me, just set a time.
Tuesday works best for me, because Wednesday...
Tuesday? Tuesday afternoon?
No matter what time.
I could be even free by 11. I just can't do 10.
Okay.
10 or 11.
11 on Tuesday, does that work for everybody? I just need a simple majority, so, okay.
Yeah, January 23rd at 11 a.m. Central Time.
Yes, please.
Okay.
I'll send out Zoom, and you can just do a call for that one as well.
Okay.
Housing Committee information came out today. I'll include that in the weekly update. They're asking for a representative. I've sent a request for some additional information. We get one designated representative, but they also have a real estate representative or representatives. So I've sent some additional requests to Della at the chamber to see if we can't get on that committee. Otherwise, I imagine I've asked if we could do a designee and an alternate so that both could attend as well. But I'll let you know what I find out on that from the chamber. Wasn't special meeting. How did we- And that's, I'm sorry? Budget? I don't have anything else tonight, Your Honor.
Thank you. Public Works,
Snow removal, snow removal, snow removal.
And water main break.
And throw a water main break in there once in a while, too. Just wanted to say thanks to my guys for all the hours they put in and helping out to get this cleaned up. It does help a bunch at getting these cars off the street with snow emergency, because now you don't have that hard packed in front of your house, and we were able to get curb to curb. Pay attention to your social media. We got snow coming again Thursday night into Friday. Depends on what happens, what we do there. And next week we got rain coming, so we'll be out cleaning storm intakes off, so the rain and the melting snow will go in. But pay attention when you're driving around, because if storm drain plugs up with slush, it could run into a flooded street somewhere. So make sure next week everybody's careful and pays attention to that.
thank you. Anything from police?
Just talking about snow emergency. Last Thursday, we went out at 7 p.m., wrote 11 parking tickets, towed 3 vehicles. Myself and the 2 other officers that were working got, I would say, at least 20, probably closer to 30 residents that we were able to get a hold of by knocking on doors or calling them to move their cars. So, I mean, we were out there for a couple hours trying to get cars moved by calling or knocking on doors. So it was, we had 2 accidents on January 15th and 1 accident on January 10th. So nothing during the storm itself. And I know on Monday or Tuesday, the first snowfall, we just gave out warnings for vehicles parked on the roads, and we probably wrote approximately 40 warnings on that Tuesday to get cars moving off the street. So it's been pretty busy that week. On the fire department this weekend, I was in there, and in the communication room, we have a leak coming through the ceiling. It looked like there's 3 different spots in the communications room. I got a hold of Brockway. They're going to be up there tomorrow. I'm not sure what we can do. I did get a tarp put up to protect the computer at this time, but they're going to be in there tomorrow to look at it and see if we can come up with the game plan for that roof. I know Sean had it on the capital outlay to replace the roof here in a couple years. We'll see what happens after the snow melts off of it this next week and see what we need to do with it. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Anything from clerk, finance?
Not tonight.
IT, I see, will come up a little later, so. Council reports?
I would just like to thank the police department and street department for the hard work they did during the inclement weather, and it makes our community a lot safer. And obviously, they work together. I've been there before, and you know, just getting out and knocking on doors, and as an officer, you know, getting out of a warm car, and you go knocking on doors, and you're trudging through the snow. It does play a lot on, you know, on a safety issue too. You're sliding around doing that, and the street guys putting all the time in. I just want to make sure you guys know that we really appreciate it.
The snow emergency worked well. The Public Works staff was able to get the snow over to the curb especially with that heavy wet snow. Of course, we all have to shovel. But they were able to get it over there, and then, of course, with that cold weather and next storm, having that emergency in place worked well. Something we don't always want to do, just appropriate to the storm, which I think in this case it was. And as was noted, warnings went out that first time. Communications, Facebook, social media posts. If you just go online and see all the press coverage that was there as well, it was on the radio station. I've received a number of positive comments regarding the process as well. People that had been snowed in before, or plowed in before. One individual had to pay $50 to get out, or dug out of snow last year that they didn't have to do this year. I know it can be an inconvenience, and it's certainly not something we're going to do all the time. But I think we had just simply based on some of the social media numbers, we reached a number of folks in the community. 2.3 thousand impressions on that very first one, 1.7 on another, 3.9 on another, 2.7 on another, and then some smaller ones in between. So we were certainly able to reach a number of folks during the event, and that's certainly our goal, is to get the information out there. We even post on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. We're going to start using Buffer, a social media tool that will allow us to better schedule and track those all in one location as well, and that account. But all in all, I think it worked very well. But again, the storm will dictate when that happens. We didn't have to do it at all last year, but we did do warnings last year in preparation. So,
Great, thanks a lot for getting that information together. And like when Chief Logan said that we only had 2 traffic accidents through the whole week on the street, that says a lot too. It does quite a bit.
absolutely.
Andy, any comments?
Just the business of the year, nominations are still open through the end of the month. You can go to the website, you can go through Facebook or any of the social media's got a link to it. Again, that's to nominate business of the year for West Burlington. Close at the end of the month, then voting will happen. And then the third Thursday in March is when we'll kind of surprise announce the winner of that. So I hope people will get on and nominate. And again, the people that vote, it'll be anonymous on who put in the nomination. You can vote for your own business, nominate your own business. So the names won't be, so I encourage all of you as well, if you want to nominate somebody, just go online and fill out the form. It's pretty fast and easy, take about 5 minutes. So, thank you much.
Thank you. Therese?
I don't have anything but let it snow, let it snow.
No.
I know where to bring the excess and dump it now.
Melanie, anything from you?
Nope, I have nothing to say.
Thank you. Okay, I have nothing to report on this one, other than my thanks also to the road crew that kept things open, and I think did a nice job with what we had to deal with. So, community reports. I have something from the Airport Authority.
Good evening. I know you got the report in front of you this year, right?
We do.
Kelly and I, we've got that all worked out. So I just want to talk about a couple things here. If you kind of go through the report with me. Having a local airport gives the community, obviously, both personal and business travelers the affordable air service and connectivity to national and international air transportation system. And we seem to have a lot of them that even go international, so it's kind of interesting. But the airline industry, there's some key indicators that have been going on. COVID, of course, kicked in. And in 2023, we had expected it to reach $803 billion. And I think before I had sent this out, and then the recent numbers that I was able to pull off of that actually is at around $897 billion dollars in the air travel business. 2024, they're expecting a 7.6% increase, up to $964 billion. And, I mean, people are ready to travel. You see that on TV when you see all these airports with everybody's backed up. With the increase in worldwide travel, there's challenges that are still looming. Pilot shortages are still out there. It takes a long time to get pilots with the hours that they need. And the smaller airlines are the ones that are kind of suffering from it, because as they get somebody to those hours, they get plucked and go up with the bonuses to the bigger airlines. Fuel costs have been fluctuating up and down. Aircraft parts and mechanics for maintenance are hard to come by. That's one of the things that the new airline has kind of run into, is just getting parts for their aircraft. You know, this all leads to somewhat of a perceived poor service as they navigate through these challenges. But we've had cancellations, and we've piggyback flights as we serve the community to and from Chicago. Those piggyback flights are with Quincy. Every now and then, you know, Chicago flight might be late because they'll take their passengers on down to Quincy, come back into Burlington because that's where the plane needs to sit overnight for the 6 o'clock flight in the morning. So we've had a few of those, and but they've reduced them as of late here recently. And we never had that with Air Choice 1 because the carrier in Quincy was never the same as what ours is. So that kind of presents, it can be a blessing in some aspects, but sometimes it's not. We have had increased presence with military travelers just because of what's going on at the ammunition plant. And of course, you know, I mean, we still have the charter services with Jet Air, and they're doing flight training. They do fuel sales, aircraft sales, air medical, and of course, then the military aircraft that are coming in there. In our participation with the Essential Air Service, you know, last April 1st, we switched to Southern. People were calling for us to go back to the other aircraft, the Cessna, and we also felt that what they offered us was going to be a better situation with the aircraft from its capabilities that the TechNam with Cape Air, they were struggling with. They were new aircraft, but not really proven, I think, was part of the problem. And when we did this, we also went to 14 round trips to Chicago and 10 round trips to St. Louis weekly. Chicago is our bread and butter. That's where we get the travelers, the employments from. And so we were able to shift some of those St. Louis flights into Chicago when we did that transition. The completion rate and employments have increased from our previous service provider, but they're still impacted, obviously, from the pilot shortage and aircraft parts, that they're working through a pilot training program that they have in Pennsylvania. They're purchasing more aircraft. Last I heard that they have put in an order for 100 new Caravans, but, you know, it's going to take time for those to be built. Southern's been very accommodating to the community on donations. We get requests all the time, and depending on what it is, we will hand some of that off to them. We have also, recently we had it was an event that we worked with St. Louis in partnership, the St. Louis Airport. They provided tickets to Metallica, tickets to a hockey game, hotel, transportation from the airport to and from the hotel. Southern put in the flight tickets, the 2 tickets for round trip, and it was run through the radio. It was a contest, and the couple had a great time that won it. They were amazed that they were being met in St. Louis by the marketing people there, and you know, we've got a lot of those that we can do. We just have to make sure we've got the aircraft and the pilots to get them there. Because it was kind of a chore, making sure that we didn't fall down on it with not having the flight going down to St. Louis. So we are doing promotional events as well that we have a bag that, so if you have an event, and I know you guys do as a city, some events, we are planning to give away a duffel bag that has STL and BRL on it. It's all a promotional thing to promote St. Louis, get people to St. Louis, and we will be putting 2 round-trip tickets in there. So get with Kelly. Kelly can get with me if you guys have some event that you think you want to do this as a auction item or giveaway. We plan to do it regionally, you know, to Mount Pleasant, to Fort Madison, to Keokuk. We've got like 50 of these that we're planning to do this with. We still have the Avis car rental. They're doing very well out there. We have our FAA technician, TSA, of course, and the fire station. We work closely with them. Civil Air Patrol. But getting to the numbers of the passengers served, we had 7,717 in 2023. Deployments 3605, enplanements 4112, which is well short of the 8,000 that we want to get to again. Nearly 7% increase, though, over the previous year, and that's with all these cancellations, we still did better. General aviation is up, a 27% increase. We see a lot of private jets, aircraft that come through there. Just tonight, over the radio, I heard a pilot come in, and he responded to my operator guy there and said, "Hey, your airport's in great shape. We love to come in here." So that said a lot to him, made him feel good. In the spring, we plan to do a kind of a reset with Southern since they've had some struggles with the pilots. They feel like in probably May that they're going to be well under control, and planning to do a marketing campaign and special event out there with them, and we'll be sure to invite everyone to come out. The 2023 projects that we completed, we had the vertical infrastructure for our new business hangar. We went through that grant, mostly in design work for the new hangar. The airport improvement program, we did a Road D hangar pavement project on each side of the hangar. Air service development, our marketing money was out there. For federal project, we completed the taxiway B reconstruct. And I know probably people saw piles of rock piled out there when they were tearing that out, but that is completely done, and the contractor, which was Phi and Jones, did an excellent job. I would highly recommend them. The local spend for 2023 was $352,393. So just to let you know that, you know, that's money out of our bank. But a lot of projects and a lot of concrete was poured. 2024 projects that we have slated, we have a solar project that we were able to attain a grant of $600,000. We plan to put that in, and it's a 5-year return on total, but a 2-year return on our local match dollars. So that's what we're getting ready to start. We have the Federal Aviation Administration project of an entrance road and parking lot reconstruction project. So this was a community project fund that Miller Meeks worked with us on. It's been sitting in Congress waiting to be passed we thought it would have been passed last fall. We've kind of had to just slow the engineers down right now, waiting to see if they're going to ever get that pushed through. It was $2 million that was granted to us for it. Trying to tie this in with the Summer Street project that they're planning to work, so we can leverage a little bit of bidding there. we'll just have to wait and see. I close contact with them, but, so then we have the Air Service Development Program, the $60,000 for marketing again. We did get $400,000 from the state to do some apron work, and some of that will tie into the east side of the apron near where the new hangar's going in. That new business hangar ended up coming back on bid at $2.4 million. With the ARPA funds and CSVI, we had $1,815,200 to apply to it. So local money is going to be $584,800. So our local spend for 2024 could reach up to $1.2 million if the project goes through with the entrance road. So we're reaching out and getting money, but obviously then what happens is, there's match with all that. ATP funding, we have put in again, this is the third year. We will not hear anything till March. That's for terminal upgrades and extra money to help with that entrance road, which would bring some of that local match down. So you've got our projected budget and our 5-year plan. Now, our 5-year plan shows breakouts of that entrance road in 3 phases, as if we weren't going to get the community money. We're just leaving it in the 5-year plan as such until we know for sure. One thing I would like to ask for and propose is an increase from all the entities, a 3 to 5% increase, just to help us offset costs on all this spending match money. But all our parts and stuff for all our equipment, and I'm sure you know this, they're all, I can't even tell you how much they've gone up. It's crazy. So it is presenting some problems there. And just like this snow that happened, we've spent this past week now repairing equipment because of the wet, heavy snow. So anyway, any questions?
I just have one. Obviously, we know what happened during COVID, and obviously that changed your business drastically.
Yes, it did.
So I just wonder, the numbers as you see them today, which are starting to come back and looking better, which is good. Do you think the majority that is still the gap, is that somebody that's traveling for fun or traveling for business? That's the 80% of that, or is that pretty split?
I'm going to say it's probably about a 65-35.
Which way?
65 business.
Okay, business.
And the problem that we have is when you don't have the reliability of knowing you've got pilots, we've got to rebuild that trust in some of these travelers.
Sure.
And that's part of what we want to do, is do a big push in May, when we know that the equipment is there, the pilots are there, that we can try to win some of these people back.
I assume that was the answer, just based on people getting more familiar with using Zoom and having meetings over that. I think they do travel on the important things on commercial, but maybe a little less than they used to before, is what I've seen. So
Yeah, they do a little less, but I think the Chicago, you know how there's a Chicago connection. We see a lot of that where there's just people have relatives up there that live here in Burlington now. I don't know how to, it's just, they know it's a cheap ticket to get up there. And,
And then, have you been to the Chicago airport recently?
I have not. Well, let's see. Last time I went through there, it would have been 2 years ago when we went to Washington.
I guess that's my only other question is, have you had feedback lately on people not wanting to travel to that airport?
Oh, yeah, we have. And we had to go through some signage issues to try to get, because people didn't know where to go with Southern versus where Cape Air and Air Choice One were. But as far as Chicago itself, yeah, I traveled 3 weeks out of the month, and I hate going through Chicago. And St. Louis is so much easier, but the connectivity is just not
Right.
there,
Okay,
so.
okay, thank you.
How much does it cost to fly to Chicago now then?
They've had tickets on there for $59, $69, and a lot of it just depends on when, if you're the first person, you're gonna get a cheaper ticket. Once they get 3 or 4, then those seats become higher, like every airline does, so. But it's a great way to go up and go to a Chicago Cubs game or to St. Louis. It's just really quick and easy, and so.
Is the terminal eligible for vertical infrastructure funds from the state in addition to the federal funds that you applied for?
Is what?
Is the terminal project, is it
Well-
eligible for the vertical infrastructure funds too?
Yeah, but we've been using those for other projects.
Hangars?
Well, we had, that hangar is eating up probably 2 or 3 years' worth of our infrastructure funding. A couple years ago, we did a refurbish of one of the great big row E hangars. We had them go through the roof.
Sure.
The coatings on the outside and everything, so.
Appreciate it.
But the terminal itself, it's not in bad shape, but what we'd like to do is add a bathroom that once you get through the secure area, there's a bathroom you can get to, because right now, you can't.
Sounds good.
Sarah, you might want to add about the new commercial hangar, business hangar. That's a public-private partnership that we've done.
We've got a partnership with Jet Air.
Jet Air.
It's a 100 by 120. They plan to try to entice, and I think that, I know they can, because they come in to our airport and then they leave these jets to go somewhere where they can get it inside out of the weather. So the intention is to be able to do just that. Just like the other night, Schottenkirk flew into ours because they can't get into Fort Madison. And then they want to put it inside. And the intent is for them to manage that hangar with those kind of customers. So, and we did have to put fire suppression in it, so they will be able to do all kinds of maintenance work where they couldn't in the other one.
Plus the cost was like 2.4 million, but Jet Air chipped in 700,000 of that.
Mhm.
So brought our cost down to about 1.7.
Yeah. So,
But I know it's been several years since the airport's come in to ask for an increase, and I told Sarah I thought it was maybe time that we just look at a minimum increase. I think we're talking $300 and $600 at the most.
yeah, anything from a 3 to 5% is what I'm looking for, just to help us offset some of the costs of equipment breakdowns or.
Pretty much for being a 1.5 person operation out there, Sarah and a part-time employee in the office, I think they're doing a good job.
Well, and Ethan out on the grounds, I'm telling you, that kid, nobody try to take him from me, because I'm gonna be in trouble if, yeah, hands off. He lived out there last week, so.
Awesome. Thank you for your work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Mr. Mayor, can I make another comment? Not for the airport, but I want to thank Mike and his crew, and they always do a hell of a great job, and the only kind of complaint I have is woke me up at 4 o'clock this morning. Can you, I was ready to go out there with some clippers and shut that backup off.
Unfortunately, we've been struggling to try and get all the parking opened up, and we got to come in early and get going on that.
Well, maybe you can just stay late.
No special treatments for,
And yeah, they should be shoveled first.
First, yeah.
Well, thank you for your support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah.
any other citizen inquiries or comments? If not, I'll open the public hearing on proposed amendment to the West Burlington Urban Renewal Area. Any comments on this?
Thank you all again.
Thank you.
Seeing no comments, then I guess I will close public hearing. And we'll go on to new business. Consider resolution approving an urban renewal plan amendment for the West Burlington Urban Renewal Area.
Motion approved.
Motion?
Support.
Motion and support. Discussion?
This is just a continuation of the process. You'll see that the plan is included tonight in your packet with a whole host of items that can potentially be used with tax increment financing. Don't have to be used for tax increment financing, but if they're not in the plan, you can't utilize TIF. So we include everything in there, including the administrative, the economic development programs that we use to offset cost. We've updated the blight finding and added those properties back in that were taken out of the process so that we have, are able to generate increment in the future on those properties when they develop. And so there's a whole host of items in there. We did not have anybody from either school district or the county or the community college show up at our TIF meeting, which is required under the process. And we did not have anybody show up, nor did we receive any comments.
With that, then,
I have one comment, sorry. I just want to say, this kind of forward-thinking work is what you bring to us, Greg, and appreciate that very much. And these are things that have needed to be done, and update this and keep it up to date, and keep bringing in things that are possibilities for the future so we can actually act on them and get them done. So thank you for your work getting this updated.
I appreciate it very much.
considering no other discussion, then I'll ask for a roll call.
Crowner,
Aye.
Lees,
Aye.
Young,
Aye.
Covert.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, our second item of new business is consider the first reading of an ordinance providing for the division of taxes levied on taxable property in the West Burlington Urban Renewal Area pursuant to Section 403.19 of the Iowa Code.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Motion and support.
This is the ordinance that actually creates the TIF district and adds the property back in.
Seeing there's probably no discussion on this, I'll call for a vote on this.
Lees,
Aye.
Young,
Aye.
Covert,
Aye.
Crowner.
Aye.
Resolution passes. Number 3, consider a resolution setting a date of a meeting at which it is proposed to approve a development agreement with JNB, West Burlington IP, including annual appropriation tax increment payments.
Motion to approve the date of February 7th.
Support.
Support.
Motion and support. See no discussion.
Again, this is the actual development agreement for the housing project, which follows the letter of intent that or support that the city provided during that process. So you'll note that the Section 3 talks about the payments Section 4, the LMI requirements, I did throw the sidewalk in there just to make sure that it got done from where it ends on Van Wees in and around that property over to American. And of course, legal fees are covered. First dollars out from the TIF agreement and process. Pretty basic agreement. And happy to answer any questions.
Greg, will this hearing be part of our regular council meeting?
I'm sorry?
Will this meeting be part of our regular council meeting on the 7th?
The approval of the agreement?
Yes.
Yes.
That's good, okay.
Okay, then I'll call for a vote.
Young,
Aye.
Covert,
Aye.
Crowner,
Aye.
Lees,
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 4, consider Civic Plus upgraded website platform and new contract terms.
Motion approved.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Motion and support. Discussion?
So you've seen a number, or I guess quite a bit of information from us over the past year and complaints with our current platform, Civic, which is Civic Plus, but it's a scaled down version of Civic Plus. We've let our complaints be known, and they've offered the full-blown version at a significantly discounted rate. The annual rate is about 600 and change lower than our current rate for the full-blown version. The cost impact comes with the setup and switching from the current version that we have to the full-blown version of Civic Plus, which will offer significantly more
Flexibility.
user. The user interface is much simpler. It's been updated. We'll have more flexibility, and we'll have essentially unlimited text and email notifications on this program as well. We are recommending that we do an amendment if required for this. However, I don't think we'll need to do an amendment. If you take out the annual fee, which is already budgeted for, and we have some other ideas, including we're going to reduce, Kelly had agreed to reduce a portion of her budget by $3,000 as well. We should be able to find the funding to cover the additional cost for the setup charge. That said, I've worked with the full-blown version before. Brad's worked with the full-blown version before. We've done a number of meetings with them online. Revise is the other company that we were looking at. A number of communities have utilized, but at the discounted rate, and with the updates that the Civic Plus has offered with the full-blown version, we'd like to switch to that versus the scaled-down version that we have now, which uses a platform called Drupal, which I am not very familiar with, but not very happy with. This is a much easier platform to use. Our staff will be able to utilize it in addition to simply Brad being able to utilize it as well. Drag and drop. We can move pages around. We can move features around on the website. Notifications will be greatly expanded. Just about anything we want to include on there, people can sign up for and receive for your text and the email as well. So happy to answer any questions. Brad can certainly chip in and answer any questions as well, or if you have anything to say. But
yeah, and the yearly fee is a little bit less, right?
$660, $640 less, something like that.
So, and what was the contract term on that again? Or not contract, but the lock-in? What were we locked in? Because I had Andy ask that earlier, and I thought it was 3 years,
3 years
locked in at that
it's
price.
a 5% increase in the contract. Cost of living increased each year thereafter on the price. So, frankly, it's a pretty good deal. I haven't seen one this good. Yes.
During the 3 years is the 5%
Following
or
the- following after.
So we're locked in flat
3 years.
3 years and then
Right.
5. Okay, never mind. I'm good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good question.
That was my worry, was after,
Mine
since you
too.
negotiated a fairly good price, that year 4 was going to be double.
No,
Oh, okay.
5%. increase. It's in the contract spelled out. I specifically requested to see that up front. So.
Okay.
Melanie, you have,
No, it sounds good. It sounds like we got the people who use it recommending we go with this, and it's a competitive rate, and let our people work more efficiently and effectively and communicate with our citizens better, so I'm in support of it. No questions.
I can call for a voice vote on this one, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Our last item of new business, consider resolution applying for and committing a local match for BRIC grant and FEMA stormwater funding through IDNR, which Greg had talked about just a little earlier.
Motion approved.
Support.
Motion and support.
No guarantees, but this is our application to DNR, and they would include our request through the state's request to FEMA for funding for potential stormwater, planning is not the word I'm looking for, but.
Mitigation.
I'm sorry?
Mitigation.
Well, yes, mitigation, but in order to come up with concepts and cost, in addition to the stormwater planning that we're doing as well, which puts us in a place to apply for FEMA dollars for the actual projects.
Okay.
Seeing no further discussion, call for a roll call.
Covert,
Aye.
Crowner,
Aye.
Lees,
Aye.
Young.
Aye.
Motion carries. We have no further new business, no citizen inquiries, so I would
So moved.
move into closed session. Is that what we're supposed to do here?
No, we don't have a closed session.
I don't have a closed session.
No, it's just,
Okay.
I could have taken it off there. There's nothing under it.
Okay,
I second the adjournment.
all right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.